Welcome to the Breakfast Leadership Show, where we interview global thought leaders on business, leadership, and life. Here's your host, keynote speaker, best-selling author, and chief burnout officer of the Breakfast Leadership Network, Michael Levitt.
Welcome back. I've got Setti Coscarella on the line. Setti, how are you?
I'm great, Michael. How are you?
I'm great. Good to be on the show with you. So you do some amazing work, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation because I think it's something that is going to bode well in the future for people and all of that. So I want you to share a little bit about you and the work that you're doing.
Sure thing. So I'm the CEO of a publicly traded company called TAAT Global Alternatives. Basically, what we do is we make an alternative to traditional cigarettes. So our product does not contain tobacco, it does not contain nicotine, but it'll still satisfy a smoker in a very similar way without triggering an addiction response. So the value proposition we try to provide the market is an ability to switch to our product and alleviate yourself of a nicotine addiction, which I think is fundamentally better than any of the other alternatives that exist, which basically just change the format, but still try to deliver an increased concentration of a useless drug, otherwise known as nicotine. So we really tried to put ourselves in the shoes of our target consumer and solve a massive problem for them, which is the fact that you'd be hard pressed to find a smoker that enjoys the fact that they're addicted to anything. And we wanted to help solve that problem. You know, the way I tend to look at it is if you were to take tobacco and overlay it on top of the alcohol industry, all of the consumers would effectively be alcoholics.
Well, yeah, it's, having, family and friends that have smoked and, they would like to stop it, but, the nicotine addiction makes it really, really difficult to do so. And, seeing, different products out there that are better without all of the negativity of nicotine and all of that is critical. So what motivated you to get into this sector?
Well, I used to work at Phillip Morris, and I spent a lot of time working with individual smokers, thousands of them. And as I had mentioned, you'd be hard pressed to find a single one that says, "Yep, I'm really happy that I'm addicted to nicotine." I mean, it's a big problem that none of the tobacco companies were actively looking to solve. So when I saw this, I really thought that there was a tremendous opportunity in the marketplace for it, so long as the product was positioned correctly, that the flavor profile was right, and that it really sort of tackled the problem in a proactive way. And I thought that positioning it similar to Beyond Meat would have been important.
That's a great analogy with the Beyond Meat, because a lot of people are wanting to move away from a health standpoint, away from consuming as much red meat as society has done for several years. And I'll say in my own personal story, I like beef, but beef doesn't like me. I have some gut issues that create some challenges if I consume beef, but having an alternative like Beyond Meat, I've tried, their burgers and things like that. And for me, it's like, wow, this is actually good. It's meeting that satisfaction without the negative side effects that beef causes for me. And, the same thing with, the smoking and all of that. It's one of the things that, because personally speaking, I have never smoked, but one of the things that, and I work in the burnout space, one of the things that I think is a benefit is, and some people may look at me a little funny on this, but I think one of the benefits of being a smoker is I need to go out and have a cigarette. That means you're taking a break from your work. You're going out and you're smoking, and you're not alone. A lot of times you see a few people are out there. So you're socializing. And you're engaging, and you have some conversations about different things and all that. And then after you're finished, then you go back to your work and you do the things. You can still do the same thing using your product, again, without the nicotine component of it, but there's that social interaction. And as a non-smoker, I'm almost jealous to say, I miss out on that. And sometimes I would actually go out and have a conversation with people, even though I'm not smoking myself. but have a conversation with them in a more relaxed setting than the board meeting or anything like that. So where do you think the industry is going to be in the next 5 to 10 years? Because as we see, people are starting to try to migrate away from smoking, or they want to. But the alternative that the TAAT provides an opportunity where it's like, well, you can still have the benefits of being able to socially smoke and do things like that without the nicotine thing. So where do you think the industry is going over the next let's say 5 to 10 years?
Well, I mean, I can tell you, since I started here, you take a look at a lot of the big tobacco companies, and they now have an active beyond nicotine strategy. And I can tell you, when I was there, nobody was using the word beyond anything. We started using beyond tobacco. We trademarked beyond nicotine, and now all of a sudden everybody's going beyond nicotine or beyond smoking and all these things. So, I mean, it's flattering in one regard. But I do think that the industry is really starting to take a look at the products it offers, get a better understanding of what its consumers want, and start delivering a larger spectrum of products to help satisfy that. And I think that TAAT and the category that we're building is going to continue to grow into the future, because it really helps solve a very specific problem for a large group of people. And when you take a look at a lot of the other nicotine delivery systems, whether it's vape, patches, gums, lozenges, whatever it is, they don't really replicate the act of smoking in the same way. And for a lot of smokers, that's what they prefer. So I know that in my work with smokers, you'd probably get about 75% of smokers that would have tried vape. Okay. Now you take a look at the market now, and the number of smokers still outweighs the number of vapors 20-1. So if all the smokers tried vaping, then why are they all still smoking?
Because it's not the same sensation.
It's not the same sensation. It's not the same flavor profile, and taste really is a big thing for smokers. So for us, we spent a lot of time trying to figure out how can we get our product to taste and behave like tobacco, to the point where it's almost indistinguishable. And that's really why I like the Beyond Meat example, because at the end of the day, Beyond Meat's a veggie burger, but it tastes nothing like a veggie burger. It tastes like you're eating a hamburger. And that's why I think they've taken off, because they really understood their target consumer, what they were looking for, and delivered it to them. And I think we're trying to do the exact same thing on the tobacco side with Beyond Tobacco. We're going to give tobacco smokers a viable alternative to continuing to smoke cigarettes.
And in a way that's going to be less damaging to them and less addictive. And also, going back to what I said before, the social element of it. And again, taking breaks, build in breaks, because for those of us that don't smoke, we're not going out to take a break, even though we could in many cases, we don't. And that's when you start seeing people, working longer hours, and they're not taking little breaks throughout the day, which obviously has a long-term effect on their abilities and stress levels and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on the products itself, have you been surprised by if you thought, one particular, because I know you've got multiple versions of them, one outperforming another one that is surprising you, or has it been pretty much in line with what you would have expected in migrating to an alternative?
I think it's pretty much in line. I think all of our varieties sell well. Recently we announced we've sold our first 600,000 packs. We're in over 1,000 stores, 20 states in the US. We've got distribution now into the UK, Ireland, and Australia, which is really tremendous for a company at our age and stage. Like, we've had a product in market for less than a year. And I think that we're growing by leaps and bounds, and consumers who try our product, or smokers who try our product, really do quite like it. I think that there's a great alternative on the menthol side. So the US has a very large menthol smoking population. And there's a lot of talk now of regulation coming in to prohibit and ban the sale of menthol cigarettes. Like, they've done that in Canada. They've also done that in the UK, in Australia. So there's a number of countries around the world where they're trying to ban some of these flavors. But when you do that, you basically leave all of these smokers who would otherwise want that product with no other real alternative. Well, because of how we produce our product and how the regulations are written, our product doesn't fall within those prohibitions. So in the event that those flavor profiles do get banned, those smokers will have an easy time switching over because we'll be the only one that really offers that mentholated product.
And that's being at the market at the right time. And congratulations on the rapid growth so early in the business, because in the UK, for example, I know, and of course the US as well, and, certain parts of the country, tends to have more smokers than not. But the UK is a big land, because that's something where, that country and that, part of the world was still more open and and correct me if I'm wrong, was for a long time anyway, a lot less restrictive than what we've seen in North America over the last, couple of decades, because it's like, no, that's how things are here. And they weren't as restrictive and, on the legislation type of things. Now, of course, with the menthol conversation, that's a different story. But again, the fact that you're at market and you understand that, okay, if we have this type of ingredients in this, design of the cigarette, it won't fall under those guidelines. Therefore, if they do implement these types of legislative bans on certain things, then you don't have people going through significant withdrawal, which obviously can create all kinds of negative effects. That's why you see, the patches. That's why those things exist. Is if you're trying to wean yourself off of the nicotine addiction, well, all of a sudden, when someone says, "Okay, we're pulling the rug from you," and okay, now you can't get them, that's going to create a huge health problem for a lot of people. So, I guess last question before we wrap up. For someone that's on the fence, let's say you're a smoker and you're like, I don't think this is going to be right for me. So how do you convince smokers that your product is going to be better than what they're used to? Of course, obviously, unless they're menthol smokers, where they might be losing that opportunity. But what are some things you do to convince them?
Well, like I said, I think the value proposition for smokers is quite high. We provide a product that isn't addictive. And I think that that's of high value to them. Because of the way the product is structured, we also don't fall under a lot of the tobacco taxes or regulations because it doesn't contain tobacco or nicotine. So we're able to offer the product to consumers at a significant discount to leading cigarette brands. And I think in doing so, it really provides an unmatched value proposition in the market. And I think you'd be hard pressed to find a smoker that wouldn't at least give it a try. And when they do that, a certain percentage of them are going to like it. And the market is so big that the numbers always work in your favor. There's about 40 million smokers in America. If we converted 100,000 of those 40 million smokers, the company's doing about $100 million a year in sales. You convert 100,000 smokers in a pool of 40 million smokers, you've still got a pool of 40 million smokers to go after. And that's just the US. So I think the market potential on the product like this is tremendous.
Yeah, your growth is going to be exponential. And you've already seen it in the first year and a bit of things. So, Setti, I've loved this conversation. Where can people find out more about you, this product, and all this amazing work?
Well, they can follow us on social if they'd like to learn more about the company at TAAT Global. They can also go to taatglobal.com. If they'd like to learn more about the product, they can follow us at TAAT, or they can visit us at trytaat.com.
And I'll definitely have all that information in the show notes. So, Setti, thank you so much again for your time today. Really appreciate you, and congratulations and continued success with the product.
Thank you, Michael. Much appreciated.
Thanks for listening to the Breakfast Leadership Show, part of the Breakfast Leadership Network. Visit breakfastleadership.com for tips on empowering your business and your life.